This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central this evening with another tale. Yes, another scary story just for you. So get ready because we're coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central. This is Doc Ock at noon and 9. So let me see. What do we have for you tonight? Well, go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel right here on YouTube, and then we'll let you know. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and do our words of wisdom for tonight. Words of wisdom for tonight from the island of Jamaica. Cock, mowt, kill, cock. Very simple. Cock, mowt, kill, cock. So, you know, a cock is the same as a rooster. And this proverb says, if there's danger out there and you go flapping your lips, loose lips can sink your ships. Now, you know, chickens and roosters don't have no lips, but when that cock starts to crowing, you can hear him from a long way off. So cock, mowt, kill, cock. Sometimes silence is golden. Not just in times before, in the olden days, but in these times right here today. So cock, mowt, kill, cock. That being said, let's move on to our story for tonight. And tonight's story takes us back into the past to the feather woman of the jungle. Yes, another story of the feather woman of the jungle. We started it last night. We're going to go ahead and continue to read tonight. Let's see what we got for you tonight, because we got something here that ought to give you a real fright tonight. And so let's see, where did we leave off at? Right, we left off with the man telling the woman every one of his secrets, not knowing that she was a powerful and treacherous woman who also had supernatural powers. He had no idea, like Marie Laveau. You got to watch out. But as she had noticed that I preferred to drink the drinks such as palm wine, guinea corn wine, bamboo wine, etc., every night before I slept. So not knowing that my wife had one kind of a powerful juju which she used to put in the drinks before she was bringing it to me to drink. That juju was to make me to sleep and not to wake till when the cocks crowed in the morning, or I would not be able to wake from the sleep for several days if cocks failed to crow. Alas, I did not know or outwit this beautiful, clever wife that was mixing up my drinks with juju before bringing it to me, and she did so for many years, quite successfully. But one midnight, as I sat in my beautiful armchair to rest for a few minutes, and as I kept very quiet, as if I was sleeping, then my attendants, who thought that I had slept, and as they noticed that my wife had gone somewhere in the town, started to lament. One said to the other, "It is a pity indeed that our master king does not suspect his wife yet, that she is mixing up his drinks every night with a powerful juju." The second lamented, "I wonder, but the juju powder is so powerful then when our master drinks it, will fall asleep at the same time and will not be able to wake by himself if cocks do not crow in the morning. Then the third lamented, very wonderful. I had noticed too that immediately our master had slept last night, the woman went out, but she returned as soon as the cocks had started to crow. This all sounds very suspicious, don't you think? And the fourth asked from the rest, by the way, what is she going out to do every midnight? Huh? The rest suggested perhaps she's going out to sleep with another man. It could be true. Again, the first attendant asked, if she is going to sleep with another man, is that man richer than our master, the king? And that means that man is giving her more money than the king? The fifth said angrily, an ordinary man can never give her enough money like our master. But of course, women are never satisfied. And the fourth suggested, is it possible to tell our master the secret of his wife? But the rest shook their heads and said, no. Here my attendants stopped when my wife entered. Thus my attendants had lamented about me without knowing that I did not sleep. But I had put all they had said about my wife in mind. In the night, when I was ready to go to bed, she brought me my drinks as usual. But as soon as she had left the room, I threw it away and then pretended as if I had drunken it. The plot thickens. After that, I lay upon my bed and pretended as well as if I had slept. After a while, she came back. She examined the tumblers just to make sure whether I had drunken it. When she saw that all the tumblers were empty, she quenched the light of the room. Then she lay on the bed with me. And it was not so long when I had pretended to be asleep when she stood up. She walked to her cupboard. She opened it and took out the best of her dresses, such as gold beads, rings, headgear, clothes, etc. Then she dressed up as if she was going to marry that night. And after that, she took out one covered calabash from the cupboard. When she removed the cover of it, I saw that one white creature like a small bird flew out and perched on top of that cupboard. After she had put the calabash back in the cupboard and closed it back, she held the bird with right hand above head. She faced my bed and then started to say whisperly, let not this foolish and hopeless man who calls himself the king of his town, of this town, wake till when the cocks start to crow, when I shall return. After that, she opened one of the windows and said to the bird again, let you fly out now and be driving away all of the dangers and evils of the world before I come. Having commanded it like that, she released it and then it flew away. After that, she walked to the door of the room, opened it, and walked out to the sitting room. Again, she opened the door of the sitting room, which led to the main door. When she opened it and walked to the outside, and I heard when she slammed it shut. I stood up. I hastily dressed up in my big black garment. I put on my native trousers and black cap. Then I took my sword from the rack near my bed. I hung it on the shoulder and spread the garment over it. Then I followed her. Oh, yes, I did. I followed her. It was so. She was going alone as quickly as she could in the rays of the moon, and I was following her just to know where she was going at midnight. Having traveled far away, she came to the market, which was at the outskirts of town. In the center of the market, I saw one well-dressed man who stood in the rays of the moon and was waiting for her. Then she went to that man and she embraced him, but the man snatched himself from her and he grumbled, it should have been better if you had told me that you would not be able to come in time. But as I hid myself in a dark stall which was near them, I saw my wife when she held that man again, knelt before him and started to beg him, "Oh, my lover, don't be annoyed with me because it was not my fault for keeping late behind, but I had been waiting for that foolish man," in other words, me, "who calls himself my husband to sleep, and he had not slept in time. Therefore, don't be annoyed with me, my lover." And she kissed the man. Uh-huh. Yeah. That's what she did, all right. As both were doing like that, my wife began to tell all my secrets to that man. Having left that, both started to abuse me so much that they bursted into a great laughter at a time as they embraced themselves. Having seen them like that and heard all they said about me, I became so annoyed that I took my sword out of its sheath. I rushed against them and I cut the man on the way suddenly, like so. As he was falling down, my wife escaped for her life at once. Then, without hesitation, I went back to my palace through a shorter road. I entered my room. After I'd hung my sword back on the rack, I'd lay on my bed and pretended at the same time as if I had slept. Oh, yeah, that's what it did. I pretended like I was still asleep. After a while, my wife entered the room. After she had shut the door gently, she loosened her dresses and put them back in her cupboard. Having waited near the window for a while, her bird flew in and perched on top of the cupboard. But to my surprise, she hardly touched it when it changed into a white round stone. Then she put that stone into that white calabash. She covered it with its lid, then put it back in the cupboard. Having done that, she walked to my bed and then lay on it. But she did not suspect at all that I was the one who killed that man, her lover. No, she had no idea. As I lay on the bed, I was unable to sleep at all, but I was wondering about the evil deeds of the woman till the morning. In the morning, I was the king of this town, the quiet bush, who had the right to give an order at any time. So I ordered my bell ringer to announce round the town that all the dead bodies of the men who had died last night should be brought to my palace for examination. I did that so that my wife might know that I had seen all she had done last night. And before 9 o'clock in the morning, about 6 dead bodies were brought to my palace, and my wife's lover was among. But when she saw him in pool of blood, she started to weep. She could not hesitate in one place, but was entering the room and coming back to look at him several times in a moment. She was greatly perplexed that time. Sometimes she was driving the flies away from that dead man, but she was not doing so for the rest of the dead bodies. Just that one. What do we say? Cock, mowt, kill cock. Do you feel me yet? After a while, she brought one of her finest cover clothes and covered the man with it so that the flies might not be able to perch on him again. Eh? What is this? When she did so to that man only and left the rest untouched, I asked her, "Is that dead man your relative?" But she replied with tears, "Not at all." I asked again, "But you're interested in him more than the rest. Why would that be?" She explained, "Of course, he was a man that I knew before he had died." I asked, "From where did you know him? In the marketplace? Or where exactly did you know him from?" So this time she shrunk suspiciously, and then she replied, "Don't try to know about that." When she said so, I went to my room and came out with my sword. I showed it to her. Then I explained to her that the man was her lover whom she had met in the market last midnight. I stretched the sword forward. I told her to look at it. But as she was still looking at it, I told her plainly that I had killed her lover with it last midnight, and it was that time she knew that I was the man who killed her lover. Yes, I wanted her to know plainly exactly what had happened. So immediately I had revealed her secret. She went to her cupboard, and after a while she returned to me. As she stood before me sobbing continuously, she spat on my face and then said loudly, I command you to remain in one place until when my lover comes alive again. But to my fear, she hardly spat on my face and commanded like that when I had laid down in this room, in the room I met him. So since the day that I had lain down in here, I could not stand up, and again all the houses and the peoples in them had turned into the bush in which my palace, the house in which I met him, is. Now it is too late. Before I had understood that the beauty of the beautiful woman is a danger. When this king had told me his story, and then he continued to groan loudly as before, I raised my head up with wonder for a few minutes. After a while, I dragged the seat nearer to him, but when I lifted the big cover cloth which was on his body, I was greatly surprised and feared to see that he was turned into a snake from feet to the waist. That part was about 4 feet diameter with sharp scales, but it was tapered to the end feet like that of a tail or a big snake. It had several kinds of colors like that of cobra. To my fear again, that part was also chained tightly, and that chain went into the ground, so he was unable to move or shake at all. And from his waist to forehead was that of a man, but it was full of sores caused by whips. When I first lifted up the cloth of his body and saw his half body, which had changed into that of a snake, I was so much feared that I first ran to a short distance and then shouted greatly, Ha! A beautiful woman is a danger indeed. Then with embarrassment, I walked back to him and I sat on the same chair, and I was looking at him without knowing what to say again. After a while, when my fear had left me, I asked from him, Please tell me, what are you groaning for? He stopped groaning and explained, I'm groaning for 2 reasons. Firstly, the part of my body which is turned into that of a snake is paining and aching me very severely because my wife is beating it with a heavy cudgel every midnight. And secondly, I'm groaning for my life, which is spared for this severe punishment. I prefer to die at once than to remain like this. I am begging my Creator to take my life before this time, but there is no answer. But he had mentioned that his wife was still coming to beat him every midnight. I asked from him, where was she living? He told me that he did not know where she was coming from. Then I asked again whether she was bringing food to him whenever she came to beat him. He replied, not at all. I asked again, if she does not, but what are you eating as you cannot even shake yourself? How much more to stand up and walk about? He replied, I do not eat, and I do not feel to eat, since when she had changed me into this form. Furthermore, I asked, when she stops beating you, what does she do next? I asked. When she stops beating you, what does she do next? He replied, when she stops beating me, she will go to the dead body of her lover, which she had lay in uncovered grave in the room which is next to the end of this palace. She dug a grave in that room and lay the dead body of her lover in it, since the very day she had changed me into this form. Having heard like that from this man who was the king of that palace, I stood up at the same time. I walked to the extreme end of the palace, and I saw the dead body of his wife's lover in a room over there, but it had become skeleton. And oh, so sorry. We have to end right there. But we'll be back tomorrow night to finish off this little story. And then we'll see just how that one ends. Because you know as much as I do, because I haven't read this story before either. So, both of us are in the dark. So, until tomorrow night, this is Doc Ock saying sayonara. But before I go, let me just tell the little children, I got a message just for you, all you little children out there. I need each and every one of you to lay your little head on your little pillow, on your little bed, and close those your eyes while you wait on that sun to rise. And when the sunbeams come, beaming down on your eyes, that's when it's time for you to rise and shine. No need for you to wait on the cock to crow before you go out to play on another day in the sunshine while you're feeling fine. And in the meantime, all you adults out there, what I need you to do is what I asked you to do in the very beginning, if you recall, to go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel. We will be black tomorrow afternoon. Actually, we'll be black at noon with our playlist of number 2 of the weekend. And it's called Our Scary Stories. So look for the playlist. If it's missed, you're going to feel pissed. So don't miss out. We'll see you then and let you know what it's all about. Until then, peace out without a doubt, with plenty of justice, because anything less disgusts us. As we wave to Cookie Price. We'll see y'all later.